huge attention. But I am going to make you, well, actually, let me make you the co-host now,
Yeah,
so that
because I
you'll
do
have
have
the
a,
ability.
can I share a couple slides?
Yeah, yeah, that
Okay,
should be
perfect.
absolutely no problem.
All right.
All right, so here we are on the hour. It is time to begin this live session for Quilt 2024. Oh my goodness, forgetting which event it is for Quilt and Learn. And I'm joined here with Anne Cardosa, who is going to be leading this session. She's a sponsor of this event. So thank you for supporting all of us. And Anne, I'm just going to hand over to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, B. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak with your audience and share what I have to help them in their quilting journeys and be able to enjoy their quilting journey even more. So, I've been a quilter. My first quilt I made when I was 15. If you've seen my video, I tell you the story in that. And started sewing when I was in seventh grade in beautiful home ec. And I feel really grateful that my generation had home ec, right? And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. So I've been sewing all my life. And 6 years ago, I had I was teaching, I had created a little sewing school in my home, in my garage. We had remodeled it, and I bought 6 complete sewing stations. My husband made beautiful tables with the machines were set into the table, and beautiful baby lock machines, 6 of every tool. And I just dove in and just said, I'm going to do this. And so for 15 years, I taught kids how to sew and all year round. And it was just the most amazing experience. I just absolutely love working with kids. But at year 14, I started to feel a little bit burnout, not on my business, but my own self. I felt the call to need something different in my life that I could serve my community in another way. And so I was racking my brain, like, well, what could I do? Because I didn't need to stop my sewing business, or if something else was better, I could, right? It was just an option. And so I started asking myself questions. Well, what can I do with the skills that I already have that I could serve my community even more? And so the only thing I could think of was my sewing school, my sewing skills. And the Shriners Hospital for burn victims came to my mind. And I had a friend who was a nurse who worked there. And so she hooked me up with the sewing department because they make custom um, bandages and stuff for burn victims. And I thought, well, this would be really meaningful, right? I could be really helping someone intimately with my sewing skills. And so I went in, interviewed, they gave me a tour around. The place was amazing. It's in the hospital, a big sewing space in the hospital. And after interviewing with the gal, she said, I really don't want you to come sew for me. I want you to be over the whole department. And I was like, wow, okay. That was so unexpected, right? And so I said, that sounds amazing. Let me go think about it. And so I thought about it for a couple days. But if you've ever had an experience where you just feel like you're supposed to do something different and you just feel called in a different direction. That's what I was experiencing. Even though I had this amazing experience to head up this department in this hospital, it just didn't feel right to me. And so I had to call her and say, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It would have been an honor, but I just don't feel like this was what I meant to do. And I could tell she was really, kind of like bummed because somebody that had my experience doesn't come along often. Anyway, long story short, I kept searching and I searched in a few different areas, but it wasn't until one day I came across an ad on Facebook for a life coach. Now, I had never heard of a life coach at that point, and I'm 58 years old at that time. This was 6 years ago. And so I thought, what? What is this? And so I started following her and listening to her podcast. And the things that she was teaching me about myself really just blew my mind. And so then I joined her program. And every month I was taught a brand new subject about my own humanness. And this is where I realized, okay, this is the direction I'm supposed to go. I had been searching, what is that next level of me? Where can I offer value to my community that is unique to me and to my community? And long story short, I grew so much in that year in her program. I felt like I could draw a line in the sand from the day that I saw her ad on Facebook to the rest of my life. It was that life changing. Her things that you learn in life coaching are only about your own humanness, about being a human, about our brain and about our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings and why we do what we do and why we're getting the results that we're getting. And it, like I said, it just blew my mind. I remember one day about a year or so in thinking, you know, when you have the feeling like you've discovered something that you want everybody to know, that just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I had that feeling about life coaching. And I felt like I wanted to literally stand on the rooftops and scream it to everyone. You guys, you got to know this stuff. No one taught us this stuff. This is about us, our own self. No one taught us about ourselves in our generation. Now they're teaching younger generations about this, and it's amazing. So I had this desire to reach out to women just like me who were in my generation and younger because I felt like y'all need to learn, y'all need to um, experience this too and learn this for yourself because it's changed me in so many ways that you deserve to know about it too. And so that's when I went on the mission to get certified as a life coach and start focusing on women who are just like me, who didn't have that opportunity to learn this amazing things. And so I've been on that journey for 6 years. And it may sound kind of funny, but I want to say this on behalf of my past self 6 years ago. I want to say how excited I am to meet you all today because it's taken her 6 years to get here. And I got a long ways to go, but welcome from the past. So, what I'd like to teach you today is thank you for the heart, um, about our feelings. And my lesson in the video was about, what if UFOs are not the problem? UFOs are simply a project laying on a table, no different than, your mouse or your computer or a pen or whatever. It is, UFOs are neutral. They're just simply an object. They can't make you feel anything. Yet we attach feelings and thoughts to these projects, and then we kind of like, oh well, this UFO made me feel bad, so I'm going to stop working on it, right? So I want to talk about that today and kind of uncover what else is going on for you. Now, my first intention for this live event is to coach quilters on their feelings and what they feel stuck with, right? I'm stuck. I have 25 UFOs. I can't get myself to go back to it. And I don't know why, right? And I've invested all this money and time into these projects that I never finished. And I don't understand myself. Why am I doing this? So if there's someone who would love to raise their hand and get coached on this, I am there for you. I am all in. So if you would like to raise your hand, we can do that. Until someone does that, if you have a question about what I'm talking about today, feel free to put it in the Q&A, and I will read it and then answer your question that way. So let's talk about feelings for a little bit. The reason why we do anything is to get a feeling. Now, This may sound very simple, but it is absolutely true. So when we are sewing on a project and we feel like discouraged or burnout on it or like stuck or overwhelmed, we don't like that feeling, right? And I like to think that we want to feel enjoyment in our hobbies, right? We're doing them because we love to do something. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable. And if we have that belief, then when things come up that we get stuck on or we don't feel good about or we judge ourselves on, we get an uncomfortable feeling. And because we think we should be enjoying ourselves all the time doing this hobby, we want to, you know, resist that feeling. So we stop what we're doing and go do something else. And so it's kind of this silent thing that we do that we don't realize we're doing. So I know for me, like I said, I've loved to sew my whole life. And there's been times where I have gotten really stuck and really overwhelmed on something that I've put way too much importance in. I've made it mean, okay, from the beginning, I'm going to make this project and I'm going to put it in a competition and I hope I'll win a ribbon. And I start the project with that. And so then it puts pressure on me all the way through to make this project as perfect as possible. And it is so uncomfortable. It is so defeating. You second guess yourself, you can't make decisions, you feel overwhelmed, you beat yourself up. And all of this is going on for absolutely no reason. We're creating it ourselves based on what we want to have the outcome be of this project. And so I want to share an experience with you. So this piece that I have right here behind you, behind me. Um, so this was kind of exactly a situation that came up for me. So I had this idea to take a traditional quilt pattern and make it a piece of contemporary fiber art. And so I really liked is this stained glass window? I can never remember it. B, yeah. So I thought that would be great. I'm going to make those really small by themselves. I'm going to make each one a little individual piece of artwork, and then I'm going to put them all together to make one whole piece. I think I'm kind of in the way. Let me scoot over a little bit. So I started out with just excitement and joy and lots of inspiration. And it was great. But halfway through the project, I started overthinking it, thinking that I wasn't going to be able to make it as grand as I thought I wanted to, and started feeling overwhelmed. And I remember the point where I came to it one day, and I just felt so uncomfortable in the room by myself, looking at my project, working on it, that I could feel my chest raise and my breath was up. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't work on this anymore. And I had created all this in my mind. Nothing was going wrong. The project was just on the table, right? It was all my thoughts that were making me feel emotions. Now, our thoughts create our feelings and our emotions. We may recognize our emotions first, but I promise you, we always have a thought that creates the feeling that's inside of us. So I don't remember the exact thought I was thinking, but it was something to the fact of, I'm not going to be able to make this the way I want to. And I just want to avoid all of this right now. So I put it away. I put it away for like a year. And every once in a while I would think about it until one day I kind of got a picture in my mind. Okay, I'm going to go back to that and I'm going to finish it. But I went back to it with a different mindset. I'm just going to have fun, right? I'm not making it for anybody for any reason. I'm just making it for me and I'm going to have fun with it. And if it turns out great, great. If not, I've had a good experience and I've learned some new skills. And so that's when I was able to fully enjoy the rest of this project because I had put myself in a different mindset. I didn't make it mean anything. It wasn't important anymore. It was just something fun and creative. And that allowed my brain to relax and open up to new possibilities. Where before I felt like my brain was just getting like really closed in and super focused on what this is supposed to be instead of just enjoying the process. So,
Um, if
yes.
can I just come in there because that absolutely resonates with me, and it clearly resonates with some other people as well. We have Dana and Rosalinda who would love to talk to you, not together, of course, one at a time.
Okay.
Dana, I'm gonna allow you to talk and ask you to unmute.
Thank you for bringing that up
That
because
there we
I
go.
didn't
And
see it on my screen.
no problem. Dana, did you want your video as well?
Nah, I didn't plan
No,
on
no,
having a
no
look
problem.
today.
Yeah, no problem at all.
No
So
Yeah.
here
problem.
we are. You're live with Anne.
Hi,
Okay.
Don. Hi. Is it Donna or Dana?
It's actually Dana, but
Dana.
I
Okay.
had no problem with it. No matter. It
That's
doesn't matter.
okay. Hello. How can I
Hello.
help you?
Well, my issue is more, I have some UFOs. I don't have 25, thank God, although I do sympathize much with folks who do. Um, my issue is that I am a perfectionist. So my problem is I will start something and then something's not perfect, and then I will set it aside and move on to the next thing and start until there's an imperfection. And then, I might start ripping it out or whatever, which I've done. I'm not that bad, but then, I take another course, or I take, I learn, I'm like really intrigued by this next technique, or, I allow myself to get distracted, and I know damn well the thing is sitting in the drawer back there. And all it would take is me to just rip out a few things and then put it back together better. But so I think it's the perfectionism and waiting until another thing is I'm in classes, and then they have little deadlines for this cutting or that, and I wait till the last bitter minute to do it because I'm sort of dreading not getting it done right. It's just a fear of not getting it done right.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So what happens when you follow through with that fear of not getting it done right and you set it aside? What's the result?
The result is, I feel bad
Mhm.
because I know that it could be really, really nice, a really nice result if it was completed, if it
Yes.
was finished. I think the other thing is for these couple of UFOs I'm thinking of, I don't actually have a deadline for them.
Hmm.
Like I'm not in a class that's calling for that. I started a class to learn how to do these things,
Hmm.
but the class ended and I hadn't finished it, and so it's just sitting there unfinished.
Yeah.
I think if I was in like I am in a block of the month club, and of
So
course I'm
let me ask you a question.
yeah.
So I want you to think of one UFO that we can kind of hone in on, okay?
Okay.
You got
It's
something?
Yeah, it's a table runner, simple table runner. It's got
Okay, it
seconds.
doesn't matter what the project
Okay,
is,
very good.
okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're going to take a look at your mind and see what's going on. So in my video, I teach you guys about the self-coaching model, and I'm going to take you through that right now, Dana. So did you watch my video at all? Have you had a
I
chance
haven't
to?
had a chance. No, not yet,
Okay.
but
So
I
go back
will.
and watch that after this and
Okay.
it'll kind of fall into place. So we have five things. We can categorize the world in five things: circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. Okay. I'm really generalizing here to teach everybody what I'm going to talk about. So your project is a circumstance. It's a fact. Everybody would agree that you're working on this table runner, right? You could
Right.
see it. But It's just a neutral object that you're working on. It can't make you feel anything, correct?
Right, I think.
Okay. Okay. So,
Except a little guilt.
yeah. So you're working on this table runner and you're feeling guilt. No, let's talk about like when you're working on it before you put it aside in the perfectionism scenario. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking that makes you feel like what is the thought that makes you want to feel like I've got to make this perfect?
Uh, it's the sense of pride that I seek when something when I have done things that I feel were quote unquote perfect, may not
Mm-hmm.
have been
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, but that I felt were perfect. The sense of pride that I got,
Mm-hmm.
internal pride, it was something that I really relish.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Okay. So you want to feel pride in your work, and that's why it's so important for you to like get it right and make it look perfect, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, another thing is I want to show it off.
yeah.
That's the other. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want it to just finish it and look at it and say, "Oh, Dana, that's great," and then not show it to anyone. I want
Yeah.
to show it to somebody. I want to show it to the class, maybe the next class or
Sure. Sure.
so. That's the
So
other thing.
you're working on this project, and what is the feeling that makes you stop and put it aside?
Fear of failure.
Okay. And when you're feeling the fear of failure, what thought comes to your mind?
Uh, what comes to mind is that I don't have the ability to do it properly. I worry that, I might not figure out the solution. Um,
Okay. So when you're thinking, I don't have the ability to do this properly, and you're feeling fear, what do you do then?
that's when I set it aside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so, and so,
and what I'm doing is I'm postponing
right.
the next step. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have this table runner that you're working on, and you have this thought, I don't have the ability to do this properly, and I really want it to be perfect. And when you think those thoughts, that makes you feel fear because you feel fear like you won't be able to accomplish that. And when you're feeling the fear, that causes you to take the action to set it aside and stop working on it.
Yes,
And the result you get from that is you never give yourself the ability to finish it.
that's right. That's right. And I
It's
keep
as simple
postponing
as
it.
that. Yeah, it's as simple as that. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't like that result, then what we need to do is to, first of all, let's look at why do you feel something has to be perfect? What's coming up for you in that? Why are you focusing on perfection?
Oh, that could go. That might be, far more than most of these people want to hear.
Well, the one thing about getting coached live is that I guarantee you many people are agreeing with you and they see themselves in what you're saying right now. And the more that we share openly, the more we can help each other. And the beautiful thing is you're not on the camera, so you should feel safe, right?
Yeah.
You're not on the spot.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
no, I feel safe. Yeah, no
so
problem. And
if
you're very good at what you do. So yeah.
so tell me more about like where else in your life do you feel like you've got to make things perfect or perfectionism comes into play?
Oh, well, I'm the kind of person who reads fine print. I read fine print for a job. I'm retired now, but I
Mhm.
read fine print, contracts, all this with the pencil and eraser. I'm good with spreadsheets, always making sure that triple checking the math.
Yeah.
It's just part of my nature. It's not just sewing. It's everything.
You're a
So
detail person.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. But why would you bring the perfectionism that you probably had to have in your job if it was all details, right? I
mhm.
mean, that was part of the calling of your job or the
Right.
important part. Why would you think to bring that over into your hobby that you love, that you want to enjoy?
Well, I think I have done some other little things that I was able that I did finish. I think it's because I know I won't make another table runner for a while.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm not going to make multiple table runners where I might have a chance to perfect the next one, then it's like I have to perfect the only one I'm working
Yes.
on. And
Dang it, it
that's
better be perfect because it's the only one I'm making.
it's the only one I'm making because I'm moving on to something else.
And what are you making that mean by I got to make it perfect because it's the only one I'm making? Why, what's coming up for you that you feel so compelled to that is like the way you have to have it be?
Um, because I see the vision of it. I
Mm-hmm.
see the design of it. I carefully thought it through, that
Mm-hmm.
design,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and I think I know where I'd want to finish it, but I know that, but I'm not totally sure. I just, you know what it is? I know that I'm going to need to spend time on it, and
Okay.
more
What's wrong with
time
that?
on it. Well, I just
So,
have other things I was I was dragging away on. But so yeah, I think really I really ought to get into some kind of a schedule where I set aside time or something, and say maybe, maybe I really need to just maybe set an hour on Mondays or something like that for and pull out the darn table runner and take a look at it. And maybe, once I get into something, I I don't stop until I make a mistake.
hmm. And then why do you stop then instead of just fixing it and moving on?
Well, if I haven't something else that I'm going to work on, then I might continue to do it because I have done that before. But in this case, it's just that I thought, well, I've got these other things I'm going to do. I'll just set this aside. It's not
Hmm.
due anywhere. Nobody needs it. It's
Right.
not due. It's not.
But here's the thing also is you make a mistake or come to a part where you're stuck, and then how do you feel when that happens?
Uh, I don't feel good, but yeah, I don't feel good, but
Yeah,
I
so
know
you
I
want
have
to
to do
avoid
something.
that feeling because
Yeah.
it's your craft, it's your hobby, and it should be fun, and now it's not. And so you want to avoid that because you believe that it should be enjoyable all the way through, like most of us do, right?
Yeah, so I
So
guess you're right. I'm trying to avoid the
that's
negative
right. You
feelings.
want to
Yeah.
avoid that feeling. So you justify in your mind, well, this doesn't have a due date, and I do have these other things. So therefore, I'll still be um, proactive and I'll still be productive and I'll work on these instead. You see how it's all justified and reasoned out to get away from the negative feeling and make
Yes.
excuses for that, right?
Yes. I want to feel good all the time.
Yeah. And heck, we all do, right?
Yeah, right.
But you know what, Dana? Life is 50-50. Half the time it feels great and half the time it doesn't. And we can think about that in all layers, in all levels of happiness and sadness. And life is never even all the time 50-50, but life does have opposition in it. And that's what helps us grow. And it's really fun to analyze this in the way of our quilting and these UFOs because it's such a great little bubble to look at, you know? And it's like, okay, if I feel like I'm supposed to be happy all the time, and this is something that I love to do, and I really want it to turn out right, and now I'm feeling unhappy, I just want to avoid it because I don't like feeling a negative emotion. But what's wrong with feeling a negative emotion? What's the worst thing that can happen to you if you keep working on that project and you're feeling a negative emotion? What's the worst thing that can happen to you?
Uh, Really, not much. There's really not much that I can
Yeah,
think of that would be worse. I mean,
yeah.
well, and not much that I can think of that would, yeah. No. I
But yet we
mean,
think
the
it's
world
such a
isn't going to
big
fall
deal.
apart, I know
Right.
that. Yeah,
Exactly. We think
right.
it's such a big deal. We want to get rid of that feeling right away. Like it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I just want to get away from it. And what we call that is it's called um, we want to avoid a negative feeling, and so we put that off, whatever we're working on, and we go work on something else to feel good again, to get a little hit of dopamine so that we're feeling happy again, right? And then when we
Right.
get stuck on something there, then we're like, oh, there's that feeling again. And this is all subconscious, right? I don't
Yes.
want to feel that way. So I'm going to put that aside and I'm going to go work on this one. Oh, that feels so much better. I understand what I'm doing. I'm working. This is going great. And when you get when your brain gets used to doing that, stopping when something is uncomfortable, it becomes your brain starts to believe that that's who you are, that you're someone who works on something until it becomes uncomfortable. And so it becomes like a habit, right? And it's not you yourself doing this. It's coming from our little primal brain that's in the back of our head. It's called the amygdala. And we call it, it's like the size of a peanut. And that brain has been recording you and watching you and following you your whole life. That's where all your memories are stored, your emotions, your thoughts, um, all kinds of things. And it is very lazy. And it's watching you. And if it sees that you are have this habit of starting and then stopping when something isn't comfortable and then starting something else, it's going to start automatically sending you a similar thought each time. Like, this is too hard. I don't want to do this. And that's where you start getting these thoughts where you think, well, that's just who I am. I'm just a person that da 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 da. But that's not true. And that's what I teach you in my program is how to watch those thoughts, how to recognize them for what they are, which is just an option. And then you can decide if you want to listen to it or not.
Yes.
The other thing with avoiding uncomfortable emotions is that we choose to buffer with something else to get away from that negative emotion. So we'll use your example of going on to another project, right?
Yes.
Well, you're buffering with that project so that you feel better again and feel accomplished to get rid of the negative feeling from the other one.
Right.
So you're running from good feeling to good feeling. And when something negative comes up, you're like, I don't want to feel that again. Put it aside. And then when you look at those UFOs, you associate that negative feeling with the UFO, and that who wants to go back to something that's going to be make you feel crappy to begin with,
Yeah.
right? It
Right.
just becomes a cycle. And so nothing's gone wrong, which is I want all of you to understand this. Nothing's gone wrong with you if you're having this problem. Your brain is acting exactly the way it's supposed to. That little amygdala, it's supposed to keep you safe, right? It functions on something called the motivational triad, which is to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and take the least amount of effort possible. So let's look at that. You're working on a project, you start it, you're seeking pleasure, and you're enjoying it, right? And then something comes up and you get stuck. Well, you want to you want to feel good, and it doesn't feel good, so you stop. And then the least amount of effort is to just put it away and not work on it anymore. And so we can take all these little cycles and um, liken them to the way that that brain functions. And like I said, it was really highly functioning back in the day when people were, really living off the land and they really had to have their heightened senses, what am I trying to say?
Heightened
Senses.
senses? Yeah.
Senses, yeah. To keep themselves safe. But our world has evolved so much that everything's so comfortable. We don't need to rely on that brain. That's where our fight or flight also comes from. So the goal is to understand where the thought's coming from and recognize it's just off. Your brain is offering you a thought based on how it's supposed to function, but you get to decide if you're going to work on it, uh, follow through with that thought or not. And so buffering is kind of like I love this example of So let's say you walk into your house and it's pitch black and you turn the light on and the house is a mess. You had the kids were home by themselves and there's crap everywhere. And immediately you're like, ah, I don't want to do any of that. You turn the light back off so you can't see it. So that's what buffering is. You do something to avoid a negative emotion, but you're doing something else that really is not getting you anywhere further,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
can you see yourself in any of those things? Tell me what's coming up for you.
Oh, sure, I can see it. I think I could go back and when I finish this thing that actually is due, because when I
Hmm.
have a deadline, I'll meet the deadline.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and I'll stay up till 3 in the morning to make it perfect, but I'll meet the damn deadline. But I
I
think
hear
if
you.
after I finish this, I think as a result of our discussion here and what I hear from other participants later is I'll pull out the table runner and I'll look at it and say, you know, I'm willing to feel what I got to feel, but I know that I can do something with this. I know I can do something with it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know I can do something to it to make it perfect. I
Yes.
just have to spend the time
But what
and I
if you
have to think, get the conundrum. I get past the feeling that I'm going to have to really think about this. I'm going to have to think about how to
yeah.
fix this, and I
But
have to
let me
take
ask you a
that.
question.
Hmm.
Do you think perfectionism is a good thing or an is that helping you in any way trying to be perfect?
If I was making three more table runners, I probably worry about it.
So
But when
why
you're
are you
making the
making
only one,
I know, but let's look at that. It's the only one. It's got to be perfect. Why? Do you see how much pressure you're putting on yourself when you could
I
just
do.
do your best and enjoy the process and move on?
Yeah. I mean, there are people in the class that I admire who are very much like that, and they make a lot of things. Some of them spectacularly beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't seem to mind the ones that aren't quite as spectacularly beautiful. They seem to enjoy just having made it,
Yeah.
and that's something I would need to work on getting to that point because
Yeah.
they're but
So what I hear you saying also is that maybe you don't, um, maybe you struggle with being proud of yourself in general, and you feel like you gotta get that feeling from making something perfect. And if you don't have anywhere else to get that feeling from. But I want to share with you, you can feel pride in yourself right now because pride is derivative of a thought that creates the feeling of pride, okay, of being proud of yourself. And that's one thing that I really work with my clients on is just your own relationship with yourself, first and foremost, is the most important relationship you have in your entire life. So I went through this too, right? Everything you guys are going to talk to me about, I promise you, I've already worked through it and I feel you. So what I learned was that I can be proud of myself right now. I don't need anybody to tell me or for me to do anything for other people to say to me, "Oh, that's a great job, Dana. That's beautiful. Look at that." And then wait for someone else to give me the feeling of pride
yeah.
and proud. You can be proud of yourself right now. I want to share another little thing with you. So, nobody can make you feel anything. Our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings are inside of us. No matter what's going on around you, you get to decide what you want to think about it. So you can just decide that no matter how your project turns out, you can decide that you like it, that you're happy with it, and that you're ready to move on, whether it has mistakes or not. Nobody can affect your feelings. Nobody can make you feel anything. So what you're doing is you're trying to get the feeling outside of yourself. You're trying to create something so perfect that when you show it to other people, they will in turn give you accolades, and then you'll feel proud of yourself. Only when it's justified from you get praises from other people, right?
Yeah.
So, but what I want to share with you is that's all great. That's gravy. They could look at it and think that it stinks,
Huh.
right?
Yeah.
They could think whatever they want about it. And is that what you want? Or do you want to just be proud of yourself and enjoy the process and see your evolution in your skills as you're going along the way?
Well, that's the other very good point is if I saw it more as a part of a progression in
Mm,
my own skill building, then I might say, I'll get even better at this as I keep doing this.
yes.
And there, I definitely see the truth in that now that you raise it, because that's if I saw that table runner as a skill builder instead of as something that I want to finish so perfect so that I can show it and make everyone will go ooh and ah and I'll feel really good
Then
about
you'll
it.
feel good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But if I see it instead as just one chink in the chain of my skills as a sewist or whatever we call ourselves nowadays, um, that then maybe, then I could I might be easier on myself, because
Yeah.
that's it. Then I have a different mission with this runner.
Yeah. How would
I'm
that
looking
feel
at it with
then?
a different point of view
Yeah.
instead of the end result to
Yeah.
be point of
This is
pride
the
and
only one. It's got to be
yeah, a
perfect.
perfect runner.
Or I
Instead of
don't
the
know what's going
perfect
to
runner,
happen.
I'm learning how, the skills that runner requires are
Absolutely.
part of something
So,
that I'm learning.
yeah. So, how will you feel then if you go about working on these projects, let go of the perfectionism and just work on it, having faith in yourself? I'm going to learn something new here. I'm going to try my best. It's never going to be perfect because that's just not healthy, right?
Yeah,
I mean, to put that on ourselves. Um, and I'm just going to enjoy the process. And then I'm going to be proud of myself on what I accomplished, what I learned. And then I'm going to take those new skills and apply it to my next one. And I'm going to grow and develop along the way. And I'm just going to be proud of myself all along the way because I'm doing something that I love and I'm improving in my skills. And it's really what you want anyway, right? We
yeah,
learn a craft, we learn a hobby because we want to feel something. We're a creative person. We want to create. We want to explore new possibilities. Um, you wouldn't want to just do a hobby so that people would say, "Oh, great job, Dana."
yeah. No, it's true. And now I think I'll look at that runner as a part of a progression instead of as the end all.
Right. And like for everybody on here right now, like my experience with this piece, if I would have just enjoyed the process and been open to my own creative intuition and just played, I would have had a much better time than putting all this pressure on myself to, like you said, Dana, be perfect, right? It's got to be just right. You know?
Yeah.
So, give me a one word feeling of how you think you'll feel if you change your perspective about perfectionism and think of it more as a progression and an enjoyment.
I'll feel more excited about it.
Yeah. What do you think you'll be thinking then?
Then I'll think I'm going to dive into this. Yeah, yeah. And so I honestly, sincerely think that I will.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Well,
This
thank
has
you very
been
much.
really
Thank
wonderful.
everyone for putting up with my story.
Now, you know what? Everybody has totally loved it. And I guarantee you, if you asked anybody, they would appreciate you being vulnerable.
Thank you
Oh,
very much.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This is B, Dana. Just and sorry for mispronouncing your name before, but yeah, everyone has been commenting in the chat about how much this resonates with them. And me especially. So
Do you want to read
thank
some
you
of
so
those to
much.
us, B? Read some of the
Uh,
comments.
where where are we? So people are saying this is definitely relevant to me. Lots of us are perfectionists. It's a difficult mind space. People are saying like this sounds like avoidance. And then one person said, I keep hoping that my mum is listening to this session. And Ali saying that we should run away from saber-toothed tigers, and awesome, thanks for sharing. Great to hear, very relevant. And of course, we also have Rosalinda as
Yes.
well. If
Let's,
if that's okay, Dana, thank you so much.
yes,
Dana,
thank you,
sorry, I'm still
Thank
Dana.
doing
you.
it.
Thank you.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
Dana.
Great. I will take you away, as it were. And Rosalinda, if she's still here, let me just scroll down. Sorry, this is not. There we are. Okay. So Rosalinda, you are now able to talk. Are you with us?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'll hand you over to Anne. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, B.
Thank,
Welcome, Rosalinda. How can I
thank
help
you.
you? What would you like to
Well,
talk about?
I have to say, I learned a lot by you talking to Dana. It was just
See, Dana.
incredible.
See?
I'm like,
That's
that's
wonderful.
me. That's me. And so I actually learned a lot from you talking to Dana. I picked up a lot of tips for myself. Um, Mine is I do finish my projects simply because I need to finish them. I want to finish them. However, my husband bought me the nebula from Tula Pink, the whole kit,
Mm.
about 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
maybe three. Well, the point is, I keep moving it around in my sewing room. I move it to the corner, I move it where it's out of sight, then I will move it again and I'll put it on the ironing board where I have to see it while I'm working on other projects. The point is, last week, I put it on the bottom shelf, way in the back, and then I put other kits in front of it. And so now I'm like, what does that mean?
What do you think it
Okay, go
means?
tell Papa. Go tell. I'm not sure.
If so, let me just
I'm
say
not
something here.
sure.
So when I am coaching my clients, I don't allow them to say I don't know or I'm not sure, only because when we say something like that, it makes our brain not go to work.
Oh,
And if we say, even if we guess what it is, then our brain wants to go to work and help us figure out the answer. So if you had a guess, why do you think you're doing this?
I'm scared.
Oh, okay. Why are you scared?
I look at the pattern. I look at the picture, and it just seems like it's beyond my skills.
Is that true?
Honestly, I don't think so. I'm just scared that it's not going to come out the way it's supposed to come out.
And why?
I'm not a perfectionist.
Okay. But why are you
I
scared?
believe a finished quilt is better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I think I'm afraid of disappointing him. He's
Oh, okay.
always buying me kits and stuff, and I will do them. I'll do tabletops. I'll do table runners. He's very bad about helping me on my habit of quilting, and so all of a sudden these kits come in. And these fabrics come in and he says, oh, I just like them. I thought maybe you would like to do something with them. And all of a sudden packages and stuff will land on my table. But this one, for some reason, I think he really, really likes it. And it's all the colors. He's an engineer, a civil engineer. And so all of the colors and everything, I think it takes him out of his box, but everything is there's structure to it. You can see it.
Mhm.
And I think that's why he's intrigued by it. And I think that might be why I'm scared of it.
Yeah. So what are you making that mean? So you said, I'm scared that it won't come out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, like the pattern says.
Okay.
So,
But
yeah.
what are you making that mean about your husband's reaction if that happens?
That he'll be disappointed.
Mm. Do you think he will? Is that true? What's true about that?
Oh my gosh, it's not true. He would like it just however it comes out. He's
Do you think he'd be in there with the
non-judgmental. No.
with magnifying? Oh, that point doesn't match. Come on, I know you could do better. You
No.
disappointed me.
No, he would not do that. He would tell me that it looks really nice.
So do you think that maybe he's disappointed that you haven't started it?
Oh yes, he
So
has.
You're
He
worried
has
about him
mentioned it.
being disappointed, but you're already disappointing him.
Yes, yes.
So what's going on with that?
I don't know. I just keep saying I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. And then one time he said, "Should I get another quilter to do it for me?" And I said, "No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." And but I haven't done it. I have not even taken it out of the pattern. And he got me the whole kit, so all of the fabric and everything is there. I don't have to go
Amazing.
looking. I mean, everything is there.
Yeah.
I just
So let me ask you a couple. Let's do a little like exploring on this, okay? So I'm just going to ask you some questions just to kind of like prompt your thoughts, okay?
okay.
So let me just ask the questions and then you can give me whatever answer comes up for you. So he bought this for you. It was his idea to buy it. He liked it. You had nothing to do with it, correct? It
Correct.
just showed up in the mail.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Is this happen often where
Yes.
he just buys stuff? So it's not your idea. It's not your
No.
inspiration. You didn't have a creative moment of
No.
light, just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make this.
No.
Right?
I saw it and I said, "Oh, how beautiful." I did do that.
Okay. All right.
But no, I never said I would make it. And I never, no.
So I'm just going to say something funny. So you're suffering from a husband who loves you so much. He's listening to the little comments you're making and he's following through.
Yes, he does. When we go to shop hops, I have to be very careful with what I say. Otherwise, he will pick it up and he'll buy it.
Oh, you
Yes.
poor thing. I feel so bad for you.
Well, it does. Yeah, but then it does. Yeah, but then I have all these projects that need to be done. And sometimes we say we like something because we do, but that doesn't mean we want to make it.
Yeah. So how do you think you can solve this problem? What do you think would be, because this really isn't about that quilt. That's part of the problem. But the whole scenario is he's buying things for you that you didn't pick out, that you maybe like, but you weren't inspired to make, right? From the love of his heart to you, he thinks he's doing something wonderful for you that maybe you wouldn't do for yourself,
True.
right?
Yeah,
So-
because I'm very careful with what I buy because quilting's kind of expensive.
Heck yeah, it's very expensive and for a good reason if you're using good quality stuff.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
So what we have here is it's like a really loving boundary problem. And I say that to not say anything about your husband at all negative, not at all, right? So this is a communication scenario with you and your husband. He loves you so much and he's so kind and generous. He's just a very thoughtful person. And you know that and you appreciate that.
Mhm.
But at the same point, you're your own creative person. You have your own ideas and things that light you up, as you should. But now he's giving you these things. You're appreciative, but they're not lighting you up. They're not making you like, oh my gosh, I got to rip that open and get right to it. It's like, it's nice. I'm gonna put it aside because you're not inspired to make it because it wasn't You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
There are
So,
some projects that he will buy, and I'm like, I wanted that, and I rip it open and I start doing it immediately, and it's done in like 3 days.
okay.
But
So
this
what,
one
yeah,
is
okay.
like, it's beautiful, but
Hmm.
I
Okay.
never imagined doing it.
So right now, have you watched my video on the self-coaching model?
I started it, yes. I got about 50% of it done, and then I went to bed.
Okay.
It was kind of late. It was kind
Yeah.
of late.
So, this quilt kit that your husband bought for you, it's a circumstance. We can prove it in a court of law. Your husband ordered it for you, it came in the mail, and now you have it, right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
totally neutral. It just is. But you get to think about that however you want. And however you choose to think about that circumstance is going to make you feel a certain way. And those feelings are going to make you act a certain way, and then you're going to get a certain result. So, what you've told me so far is the thought that you're choosing to think about this neutral circumstance, this kit, is that if you don't get it right, you're going to disappoint your husband.
Hmm.
Of all the thousands of thoughts you could think about that, that's the one you have chosen to think.
Hmm.
And when you think that thought, that makes you feel what?
Scared. I'm back to scared.
Yeah. And when you're feeling scared, how do you act towards that circumstance?
I freeze up. I don't move. I don't do nothing.
Mhm.
I stop.
So let's look at your actions. You freeze up, you move it around,
Yes.
right? Then
Yeah.
you finally hide it in the back of
Yes.
the cupboard and put stuff in front of it.
Yep. That was last week. Yep.
So you're you're freezing and you're avoiding,
Hmm.
right?
It'll come out again because it has gone and disappeared before. So, but then it'll come out again, and I'll put it somewhere
Right.
I'll see it.
But what's the purpose of that? The result you're getting is you're already possibly, we don't know, disappointing your husband because you haven't made it. And he's asking you, do I need to get somebody else to make that quilt that I want? Right?
Yeah,
So
because it's for him. He wants it. Yep. He
so
chose it because he
why are
liked it.
you allowing yourself to disappoint him?
Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. I don't want to disappoint him. Oh my gosh. I will take it out and I will get it done. Oh my gosh. I never thought of it that way.
Isn't that fascinating?
Wow. Okay. Well, that opened up a new thing for me to think about. Yeah,
I love that.
I
Love that.
will take it out and I will put it out. And as soon as I finish this QOV quilt for my brother, that'll be the next project I start on.
So to start the next project, now that you've had this epiphany, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, how, so let's just say the model backwards. You want the result to be your finished quilt, right? And
Yes.
you want your husband to be like so happy. So
Yes.
what actions do you need to take to make that result come to life? What do you need to do?
I need to take it out from the back of the shelf
Mhm.
and I need to open it up, read the directions, and just start cutting and sewing
Yeah, right. And you keep working on it until it's completed, right?
until it's completed. Yes. Just like I'll finish this before I move on to
Yeah.
this quilt. Yeah.
So how do you think you'll feel when when it's completed?
Happy.
Happy. And what do you think you'll be thinking when it's completed and you're feeling happy?
I'm going to be happy because I'm going to see a big smile on his face that I finally got it done.
So there is your new thought to work through this project. I'm going to be happy because I'm going to see a big smile on his face, something to that degree.
Yep.
And when I think that thought, I'm going to feel happy. The actions I'm going to take are I'm going to get in there and I'm going to get that project done.
Yep.
And I'm going to be thinking about how happy he's going to be every
Yep.
step of the way, whether I get stuck or not. And if I get stuck, it's okay. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's gone wrong. I just got to figure something out and keep moving on.
Yep. Yep. Oh, wow.
Oh, I
Thank you
hate
so
to
much.
interrupt, but this seems like a great point. That was amazing, Rosalinda. I hope that was useful for you because everyone
That
in the chat has been loving this. This is
that
amazing.
that is amazing. It was amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. You have just that kit has been waiting for 4 years and it's going to get
Oh,
done now. So thank you so much for opening up my mind and seeing that my it's not in my skills that was stopping me. So thank you so much. I
absolutely. It's my
truly
honor.
appreciate it. I
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank you.
All
absolutely.
right. Well, thanks so much, Rosalinda. That was amazing. Thank you. I'm just gonna mute her and take her away for a moment, and I'll remove the spotlight because that unfortunately it's gone so quickly, and that's the end of the hour. But my goodness, the power of coaching, kind of seen in real time there and felt by everyone. Anne, remind people how they can find out more about you and your bonuses and so on.
Yes. So I have my video class on the Quilt and Learn format.
Mhm.
I have a free bonus for whoever wants it. It's what I taught today, the self-coaching model. It goes into a lot more detail and it teaches you how to do it yourself. And I give you a few worksheets so that you can put in your own thoughts and go through the process like I did with the ladies today. So make sure and go and download that. It's free. It's about 8 pages long, and it is something that you can coach yourself with, like I've been coaching you. Okay. And then
Wonderful.
also, can I plug my event next week?
Of course,
Okay.
please do.
So next week, I'm launching a brand new program, a coaching program. It's 6 weeks long. We meet once a week for an hour. And the title of it is From Stuck to Unstoppable, the Ultimate UFO Breakthrough. And you've kind of seen a couple of those today. And
Mm,
so the process is, oh, and it's next Friday, January 17th at 12 noon Pacific time. And if you put your email in the chat or the Q&A, where should they put it?
yeah, I mean, in the chat is great, but it also, if they're downloading a bonus, they should be passing you their email as well.
Yes, absolutely. But if you've already downloaded my bonus and you want to get like, hey, make sure and remember me, just send me your email in the chat, and I'll send you a Zoom invitation. It's by invitation only. It's free. It's open to everybody, but I need to know who's going to come, and I'll be explaining the program. Each lesson that I coached on today, there's a lesson on those things. There's a reason and tools, cutting edge coaching tools that I teach you how to coach yourself. So I'll be explaining all that in the free webinar. And then the program starts the end of January.
Wonderful. Okay, so the webinar next week is free, and
Yes.
then the program starts afterwards. Brilliant. Okay, well, there are people adding their email addresses in the chat, which I will make sure you get.
Thank you.
This has been fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm gonna end the webinar now. And of course, we have another live event or two other live events happening later today, one in an hour and one later on this afternoon. But Anne, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This
Thank
was
you, everybody, for
wonderful.
coming.
Yes, and thank you to our participants as well, Dana and Rosalinda. Thank you.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.